this truck certainly is a lot taller. Howdy folks, welcome back to Bull Ford 82. I'm doing a 1-year review of my truck, specifically on the 4BT Cummins, which I just showed you under the power barn here. It's been about a year since, actually a little bit over a year since I got it back on the road after the engine rebuild. So if you follow along with this channel, I started on, I think it was probably August, no, maybe July of last year. I pulled the engine out. I was really just wanting to fix some oil leaks, and it kind of just turned into one of those, well, I got it out and on an engine stand. And I already had a rebuild kit with a head gasket and or a gasket kit. I had a cylinder head for it, and looking at some prices for parts like bearings and rings, it was really fairly cheap. So we ended up getting into this engine and finding that the rod bearings and main bearings were pretty much ready to be replaced. They were down they were past the wear coating. So and then we put new rings in. I measured those out. The original ones were way over spec. They were pretty wore out. So it really just needed a light rebuild. We just threw rings, bearings, new cylinder head. I had to put a new cam and tappets in. Those were pretty well wiped out. And ever since then, this 4BT has been running so much better. It's got a little bit more power just from having a fresh cam that's not wore out. And I think the new head kind of helps a little bit. Brand new head gasket, the rings, just all that stuff together, probably I would say gave it a 20%. 15-20% power increase, and I'm getting doing all that wood we've been doing, like pulling the trees out and stuff. Even with all that monkeying around and not really trying to be efficient with it, I got 18 miles to the gallon, just off-road and kind of romping on it and stuff like that. Just driving on the highway, normal, easy peasy. It's getting about 23, 24. So it's doing pretty good. It's not smoking as much. It's actually really hard to get this to roll coal. Just normal accelerating, it doesn't smoke as much. It's not burning as much oil anymore. It's just been all around a much happier engine. Things I still haven't finished on it were intercooling, which I probably won't intercool it because I'm not towing with it a lot, and I don't always haul with it, so my EGTs have been in a pretty normal range, and it takes a lot to get it up to 1200 degrees, and even then that's still kind of a safe operating range for a short period of time. For those of you that haven't been following along and just happen to watch this video, I wanted to give you guys an update on everything that I've done this year and possibly some future plans. Well, there's actually at least 2 things that need to happen. Not necessarily right away. Well, at least, no, there's one. There's 2. There's 2 that have to happen right away. So let me get you off the stand here. I'll just give you a little tour. So everybody used to ask me, what lift do you have on this thing? And as you can tell, it has a straight axle. It's a Dana 44 from the 78 F-150. It's got James Duff long arms, James Duff coil buckets, which the ones that I have sit 2 inches lower than where the factory would sit. So when you do the solid axle and then 5-inch lift divert coil springs, which is what I have, that puts me at a 10 to 11-inch lift in the front. And then the rear, we did the Sky Off-Road shackle kit. And I did the front as well because I needed to push my axle back this way because the drive shaft wouldn't fit. And this was in and that spring was up. Everything was all goofy. Now it's all been corrected with that. So those are kind of the big things we did with this truck this year. And I'm just running Skyjacker 7000s in the back. They're actually for a 6-inch lifted truck, but they actually travel pretty much as far as my springs will go with this new setup, so it works out perfectly. My too long of a front shock is now the right length. after doing the lift. I need to put my second set in there because this thing's a little wild up front without the second shock. So we did a new track bar, got rid of that James Duff setup. That was the one thing from James Duff I didn't care for. We welded in a new bracket and did a Heim jointed track bar. What I need to do next, right now it's really a problem with driving it. You really have to steer a lot with it because since I did the track bar, it got scooted over here a little bit further, so it's longer than it was before, roughly 3 inches. So that actually makes my drag link, which is all kind of goofy. It's actually installed upside down. Anyways, because the track bar or the drag link is 3 inches shorter than the track bar, every time the axle comes up, my steering wheel on the inside wants to go this way. So you have to oscillate the steering quite a bit when you hit bumps in the road and stuff, and it's really annoying. And I still have the slightest bit of wobble, and I think it's because of this drag link and the angle that it's at, and it's just not good. So what's gonna happen is we're gonna totally ditch this steering setup here. I'm gonna get a Heim jointed steering kit, which will look like that track bar, but what we're gonna do is I'm thinking I'm gonna have the toe link is gonna be in the same position, and then on top here this drag link will come over and go to the top. That should make it about 3.25 inches longer. And then what that'll do is it'll make it so that the steering and the track bar move at the same time, so we're not having a lot of bump steer. I'm also going to put a steering ram in there too. And I was debating on where I wanted to put the steering ram, because I was thinking of putting it like weld a tab onto here, have it come over, grab a tab on the toe link, and just do it there. That way all the dampening and steering forces are right here in a parallel motion, and then this is kind of just an extra whatchamacallit. And my steering box is already plumbed for hydro assist. I do put that steering ram in, all we got to do is get some hoses made, plumb her up, and then we've got hydro assist steering. And then I've already got the power steering pump to run it. Saginaw power steering pump. Damn mosquitoes gonna get. So that's one thing that needs to happen. The second thing that needs to happen is because of my lift, my drive shaft is not only this far away from hitting the cross member, the U-joint is at the totally wrong angle. It's pretty much maxed out. And what I'm gonna do to alleviate that problem is my transfer case I need to rebuild. So I'm going to rebuild my transfer case. At the same time, I'm going to throw a double cardan yoke on the front of it from a Bronco transfer case. On a Bronco 1356 transfer case, the output yoke for the double cardan drive shaft fits the front of the 1356 transfer case. So I have one of those yokes. I'm going to put it on the front. I'm going to have this drive shaft modified to where it'll have a new slip yoke, and then it'll have the double cardan end on it, and that should push the pivot point. Like, see, this is where the transfer case is. This is my pivot point now, and this is where how my angle is. It should push it out this much further, but all the U-joints will be in a good angle and synced up and all that. And since I put new caster bushings, 7-degree caster bushings in the front axle, puts the U-joint at the differential completely straight. So I think that setup's going to work out perfectly. And I've got a really nasty driveline noise from my drive shaft in this, and it's getting worse with that angle. So I think the transfer case does need to be gone through. I think it needs new bearings. I think the front output bearing is one contributor to the noise. And also that transfer case is coming up on 30 years old, so it needs to be gone through. I'm gonna put new chain, new bearings, oil pump, Yeah, I'll just do pretty much the basics to it. It works great. You guys saw in the tree tugging video, I had no problems with it. But I want to go through it, fix some leaks. It is leaking a little bit. And I'll put that yoke in there and get the drive shaft done, and the front of the truck will be done. So another thing that I said I was going to do, was it last year or this year? I was going to do the AC. I really need the AC because, boy, when it rains, the cab of this truck, it just fills up with moisture, and I've got good vapor barrier and stuff, but the windows fog up like crazy, and the heater doesn't do anything. AC will burn that off in a hurry, though. It does in my other bull nose. So anyways, that's something that I have to work on. I need to make a bracket, get a longer belt, mount my compressor, get it charged up. It's I don't know when I'm going to get to that. I've been kind of thinking about it a little more often than not because I have been driving this. But that's something that needs to get done. As for the intercooling, I'm not even going to bother. I really don't think it needs it. So if this were a bigger truck, an F-250, and I'm going to tow with it, yeah, I put the intercooling in it, but I'm just not going to spend the money on it. I'm going to make a new intake pipe. It's going to go from the 2-inch that is now to a 3-inch, or at least I'll do a 2.5. That'll open up a little bit and get more volume of air through, and it won't compress as much. At least that's my, theory. So it'll flow a little bit nicer. It'll be perfectly fine. Oh, I added some lights. I had these amber LED lights. I wanted to add on here for this coming winter when it snows. I need some color in the light to, help see where you're going, because sometimes you get in those trails where everything's a complete whiteout and you have no definition of where you're at. It's hard to drive, so you throw some amber or yellow lights or whatever color you want. You can kind of see, where the road is, or at least attempt to see it. So that's my blabbing for right now. I just wanted to get this video kind of put up and do a little 1-year sort of anniversary thing of the engine rebuild, and then kind of go over the things that I've done in the last this last year. I will say this: after getting rid of the lift blocks, the add-a-leaf that I had in there, and making my own spring pack, which actually I didn't talk about that. I built my own spring pack out of another standard. It came from a '94 standard cab short box, 2-wheel drive truck. Yes, it's got 2-wheel drive springs in it. But I built my own spring pack, put that Sky kit in there, and between it and the Deaver coil springs, the ride quality is absolutely astounding. I've been really happy with it. Kind of wrapping up a little bit on the big projects, kind of taking a break. I have been actually pretty lazy this week and not really doing a whole lot. It's kind of nice, take a little break. But I definitely would like to get my steering dealt with here pretty soon. I'm gonna order the steering link kit, a reamer, because we're gonna have to ream the knuckles. I need the ram kit, and then we'll have to get some hoses made. And then we'll probably go to Scott's place, my friend Scott's, and have him weld up the stuff. Because he did the track bar, and I've put it through some stuff and it held up, so. But yeah. Alright guys, I'm gonna catch you guys later. I'm relaxing. This is my last day off. Well, actually, I gotta go edit. I'm gonna go edit some videos. Work on that until one of my friends says, hey, coming to the barn? I was like, well, I am now. So now I gotta get up this hill. I wanna see if I can do it in 4-wheel drive. And I gotta do it when there's no traffic. Fun.